Thank you so much for watching. Today I'm going to show you how to make homemade Hennessy ice cream with Hennessy caramel and chocolate Hennessy ice cream bars. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more of my Anything's Possible ice cream series. So we're going to use 1 whole quart of heavy whipping cream. And I get this from Walmart. It's the cheapest that I found for $3.88. You're going to use that whole container. And then you're going to use 2 cups of whole milk. And you want to put this on a low to medium heat. And here I have 8 egg yolks. And then we're going to add 2 cups of sugar to that. You're also going to need a spatula and a whisk for this recipe. And I mix mine with a hand mixer, but if you want to use a whisk or a stand mixer, that's absolutely fine. You can use what you have. You just want to make sure that you get all the sugar incorporated together, the sugar and the eggs, and it's going to turn into a smooth yellow creamy consistency, and that's what you want. Like, it's going to be like a pale yellow color. And you want to make sure you're scraping the sides of the bowl because you want all of it incorporated together. You just want to make sure that you get all the you just want to make sure that you're mixing it good and that all the sugar is and the eggs is formed together. Now you want to make sure that you continue to whisk your milk too, because you don't want to let that boil and you don't want it to cook at the bottom. So kind of keep an eye on that while you're mixing your egg. This is the consistency you want. It's going to be pale yellow and it's going to thicken up and it's going to kind of remind you of a cake batter. That's what you want. So now you're going to use 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract. I use pure vanilla and I get that from Walmart. You just want to mix that in. So far we used 1 quart of heavy whipping cream, 2 cups of whole milk, 8 egg yolks, 2 tablespoons of pure vanilla extract. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of salt. Teaspoons, sorry. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 2 teaspoons of salt. And you want to make sure that you keep stirring that milk. All we want to do is heat the milk up. You don't want the milk to boil. You just need it to be hot enough to dissolve the sugar in the egg mix there, because we just want to dissolve that and so it can incorporate to one. You have to temper these eggs. So you have to bring the eggs to the temperature of this hot milk. And just continuing to stir the milk because you want it to heat up slow. You don't want to turn it on high and heat the milk up quick, because it's going to change the taste completely because you're cooking the milk, and we don't want to cook the milk. And you want to make sure all of your ingredients are cold. The eggs are cold. The heavy whipping cream is cold. The milk is cold. Everything to sit in the freezer, the refrigerator, before you mix it together. So here I'm just putting 2 teaspoons of salt in this measuring cup. You could just add the salt right into the mix. I don't know why I put it in that cup, but just do whatever you want to do. But just put, you could just add it right into the mix at this time. Just feeling the temperature just to see if it heated up any, or if it's close to where I need it to be. You want it to be like a kind of like a hot milk kind of, just like if you put something in the microwave just for a little bit, how it's just hot enough. You don't want it to be scorching hot, just hot enough. And if your milk is bubbling at this time, turn it down because it is too hot. It should just be steady, just like it is in this video. You'll see like a little steam rising. You'll see little bubble, like little tiny bubbles on the side. That's fine. I'm just continuing to stir it. I apologize for this portion of the video being so long, but I just have to make sure that this video is precise at this point, because this is going to make or break your Hennessy ice cream. So I just want you guys to get this down perfect. Once you get this done, then you're good to go. And this ice cream base I use with all of my ice cream. Basically all of it, because you can add chocolate to this and make a chocolate ice cream. You can make any flavor you want. And if you don't want to have Hennessy, just use this as a regular ice cream. It tastes delicious as like a French vanilla ice cream. So I'm just putting some gloves on, and our milk has reached the temperature that I like it to be. So what we're gonna do now is temper the eggs. So you want to take your egg mix and just kind of move it around because it's settled, so it's getting kind of stiff. So you just want to have it loose, so when you pour your milk in, it'll be easy just to mix up quickly. So you can have my whisk, and I'm just gonna add some of the milk into the eggs and quickly move it around and mix it up because you don't want it to sit because the eggs will scramble. So you just want to mix it real quick because all you're doing is bringing those eggs to the temperature of that milk. And you want to make sure you're scraping the sides of the bowl and everything because you want all that sugar to mix in. I'm going to add a little bit more milk. Making sure I'm getting the size. And now you're going to add that mix into the rest of the milk. So now I'm getting a thermometer because I like to cook. Well, I like to let the milk heat up to 180 degrees. I don't go over that because I don't want it to boil at all. So I'm just going to add the thermometer on and just let it cook on a low to medium heat. And you want to consistently stir this once you got the thermometer in there. So keep stirring it. Remember, you just want it to reach 180 degrees. Now I'm going to just add some of the milk to this to get the salt out of here so I can put it in there. I should have just put the salt in the mix, but I wasn't thinking trying to record this video. And you just want to keep stirring it. Keep it moving because you don't want it to cook or boil. Now, like I said, with this ice cream base, you can use it for any kind of ice cream you want to make. If you're not a drinker and you want to make this for your kids, you can make this ice cream into anything you want to. You just have the important thing is starting with a good base. This ice cream is going to be rich and creamy. If you like rich and creamy ice cream, then this is going to be perfect for you. My kids love it. I make the cookies and cream with this base. I have made peanut butter chocolate ice cream with this base. I have made cookie butter ice cream with this base. If you want to see some other non-alcoholic ice cream recipes, just let me know. Just comment below and I'll make some of those for you to show you guys the endless amount of things you can do with this ice cream base. And just make sure you're scraping the bottom of the pot. And I'm just putting a container. You're also going to need a shifter. I got my shifter from Dollar Tree. Go ahead and get you 2 of those because they come in handy when making this ice cream. You're also going to need 2 bags of ice, and you're also going to need ice cream salt. You can get that right from Walmart. And it's in the baking aisle. It's Morton's ice cream salt. I use a regular ice cream maker that I got from Walmart. You can get one from Amazon. I have a 4-quart old-fashioned ice cream maker, and it freezes. I have a $400 ice cream maker also, but for the liquor ice cream, I like to use the old-fashioned ice cream maker because it makes it hard. It takes forever for it to get frozen in my $400 machine. So a regular, I think I paid $42 for my ice cream machine, and I'll show you a picture of it once the video goes on. You'll see which one I use. So you're just mixing this up. The purpose of this is to incorporate the sugar and the milk, and it's gonna create kind of like a custard kind of base, sort of like a custard. It's not going to be thick, but it will thicken up once you put it in the refrigerator to cool, and that's what we want. And you can use any kind of container, long as it's airtight, you'll be fine. Because you need to have an airtight container when you put it in the freezer. If you don't have an airtight container, put some saran wrap over the container or the bowl before you put the lid on and put it in the freezer. That helps a little better. Okay, so we have reached the temperature that I like it to be, 180. And you're going to get your bowl, your container, and put your shifter on top of it. And you're just going to pour the mix into the bowl. This is catching anything that cooked, anything that may have cooked on the bottom of it. You see how that is? We do not want that in our ice cream. Okay, so now we're going to put this mix into a ice bath. So just get a bigger bowl and get some ice and put the mixture in the bowl. Now you can please use more ice than I did because I just didn't feel like going in the basement because it was late and I just wanted to get this in the refrigerator to cool so I could put it in the ice cream maker. So I'm just moving the ice around so the bowl can sit flat at the bottom of the big bowl. And then I'm going to put 2 cups of water into the ice bowl. Do not get any water in your mix, please. So I'm going to put 2 cups of water in that. And then you're just going to stir the mix around. And the point of doing this is just to bring the ice cream base down. You want the temperature to come down. You do not want it to stay at the same temperature it was when you took it out the pot. And it doesn't have to, it's not going to be completely cold. You just want to bring the temperature down before you put it in the refrigerator. And after this step here, after you get it cool, you have to let it sit in the refrigerator for 2 to 4 hours. You can let it sit in longer, but I have made ice cream once within that time frame of 2 to 4 hours before I put it in the ice cream machine. You don't want to go right from this ice bath to the ice cream machine. It will not turn out right. So you're just mixing all the base around, and I'm going to move the bowl around just to try to circulate some of the coldness throughout the whole bowl. And just keep mixing until you bring it down, bring the temperature down. And then now we're going to add the Hennessy into the mix. Now I just put the mix back in the pot, and I'm going to add 10 tablespoons of Hennessy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm just going to mix it all together. You can add more. I have added up to 18, but if you're going to make two batches, you don't want to overpower the ice cream. So you'll have 10 in this one and 10 in the other. That's 20 shots of Henny, more than enough. So this is the ice cream maker that I use. I already have the ice and the salt in there. So you just want to put the ice in and the salt. Put your ice cream maker after you take it out of the refrigerator for the 2 to 4 hours, and put it in there and turn it for about 45 minutes. Then you're going to put it into the Walmart container. Now this is the container I use. I get it from Walmart. It comes in a set of 8 of different size containers, and it works perfect. Now I want you to see the consistency of the ice cream. Now I had this ice cream in the freezer already. So it's hard ice cream. And once you let it sit for a little bit, it's going to turn to soft serve ice cream. But I just wanted to let you see that it does freeze hard, and this is the consistency you want it to be. Now this is from sitting in the freezer for 24 hours. So please let your ice cream get to this consistency. Now we're going to make the Hennessy caramel. Now you can make homemade caramel. I did the first time that I did it, but this is what I use. I get these caramel bits from Walmart. I just wanted a a cheaper option and a quicker, because the ice cream takes so long to make. I just didn't feel like taking hours to make homemade ice cream. So this is what I came up with, and I just poured the bits into the pot. And my Hennessy is cold. When I'm making my ice cream, I always like my Hennessy to be in the freezer. So you need a little bit of whole milk. That's what I'm going to use in here. Some bakers use creamer with these caramel bits, but I just use regular whole milk. And you just want to pour a little bit in there just to get the bottom of the pot wet. But you can use what works for you. Milk, whole milk, whatever your preference is. This is just what I do, and I'm just going to show you what I do. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of milk in there. You just want a little bit, but if you feel like you pour too much in it, it will be okay. So that's about maybe like one, not even like, maybe like 1/3 cup. So now we're going to mix it together. You want to do this on a low heat because it will burn. So you just want to start slow and just move it around and make sure all of the caramel bits is coated with the milk. Now when I'm making 2 batches, I usually use 2 bags of the caramel bits, but I only had one when I made this video, so I'm just showing you what it's like, how much you get with one. And you could just, if you're going to use 2 bags of caramel bits, just use 6 shots of Henny. But since we're only using one, we're only going to use 4 tablespoons of Henny. But right now we're just making this, and you just want to consistently move these caramel bits around because they will melt very quickly, and you do not want it to burn because you will be able to taste the burntness in the caramel, and it does not taste good. And I think these, I paid $1.88 for those bags of caramel. You cannot beat that. Walmart is going to be your best friend when making this ice cream. I don't know too much about Costco's and Sam's Club, but I found that I went to all the other grocery stores in my local area, and Walmart has the best options. I know they sell these caramel bits at Target. If you don't have a Walmart by you, I seen them at I seen them at Target, and you can also order these on Amazon if you're somewhere that doesn't have those stores, or if you can't get to a store, order them on Amazon, get them sent to your house. So you want to make sure that you're moving this around, and I'm kind of pressing the spatula, like pressing out the caramel so that it hits the bottom of the pan, because you want to get all of those little ball forms out of there. So just continue to move the caramel around, and it's going to look runny, but don't worry, it's all going to incorporate together. Okay, you see, it's starting to all start to look the same, but we have still have some lumps in there. We want to make sure all of those lumps are out. You see how runny it is? Do not worry about that because it's all going to incorporate together. Okay, so we kind of got all of the lumps out. So now we're going to move on to the next step. So now we're going to add the Hennessy into the caramel mix. And we got it all together and we took it off the heat. You just want to take it off the heat for about maybe 2 minutes. And you see how the caramel is starting to thicken up. That's what you want. So we're going to add 4 tablespoons of Henny into this mix. Now we have 1 bag that we used of the caramel mix, so we're only going to add 4 tablespoons into this mix. Two, three, 4. So now you just want to mix it. You see how the Hennessy just sat at the top? You just want to mix it in. And don't worry, it's all going to mix together. Just keep mixing until you have one solid form. Just like one solid consistency. Just keep mixing it together. And after you got this completely mixed up, you're going to want to put this in the refrigerator for 10 to 15 minutes. Just so you can just so it can thicken up. You don't want to keep it in any longer than that because you still want that caramel sauce. You don't want it to get like a formed hard kind of consistency. You just want it to be thick and thick and creamy. Just continue to mix. And my fire is off. Everything's off. We're just mixing this into the warm caramel. Okay, it's starting to get together. Just pop this in the refrigerator for 10 to 15 minutes. Now we're going to start working on the chocolate. Now, I melted my chocolate already and let it sit out for a little while. I used Ghirardelli's chocolate chips, baking chocolate chips from Walmart. And then I also used the almond bark from Walmart. Now, the almond bark already melts nicely and smooth, but I add a little bit of vegetable oil to it because we don't want it thick like that. We want it to be thin. So I add some of the vegetable oil. I don't use coconut oil because a lot of people have coconut allergies. So I just use that and it does not change the taste of the chocolate. You don't want to use too much. You can thin as you go. Like if you don't think it's thin enough, just add a little more. But this is what you want, a kind of runny kind of consistency. And just mix that in. Okay, so I'm just getting a cup and I'm going to show you guys the molds that I use. I get these molds from Amazon. They come 3 in a set, and then they come 3 in a pack. So I'm just putting some gloves on because it does get messy. And this is the mold I used. It has 3 cavities in it. And they come 3. You get 3 cavities. You get popsicle sticks and bags that come with it from Amazon. Just going to get some aluminum foil to put down because it's kind of messy. And I'm just pouring some of the chocolate into the cup. And I don't know why I did this because I could have just took the chocolate and put it into the cavity, but you'll see me do that on the next one that I do. But I was just trying to be all fancy doing this video, so I just made things a little harder for myself, but I got it together and did it the easier way. So I'm just pouring the chocolate into the cavity. And you want to take a spoon and you want to smooth the chocolate onto the sides. You want to make sure the whole cavity is completely covered with the chocolate. You don't want to see any other red in the cavity. Now you need some paper towels because this is gonna get messy. But I mean, it's chocolate and it's cavities. If you ever made cake sickles, it's kind of the same kind of method. And I'm still finding new ways every time I make this. I try to find an easier way to do it. So you just want to move the chocolate around and empty the excess chocolate back into the bowl. Just trying to fix the camera so you guys can see. All right, so you're just going to empty the excess chocolate back into the mold. While you're also moving around and you're still just trying to make sure all the sides are coated. Just scrape the excess chocolate back into the bowl. So I'm just going to change my gloves and get some paper towel and clean up the cavity just so it can be neat. Now you can use any kind of popsicle or ice cream mold, but I just doing this, I just love how the silicone molds are because they're flexible and you can bend and get the candy bar, the chocolate bar out. I keep calling this a candy bar, but maybe I should try to make a Hennessy candy bar. You never know, anything's possible. Okay, so you're going to want to put your popsicle sticks in now because you don't want to put them in after you put this, because you got to put this chocolate mold into the freezer, and you don't want to do it while after you take the chocolate out because it'll break the whole shell. So I'm going to pop that into the freezer, and then I'm going to do another one. Okay, see, you could have just poured the chocolate in the mold right there with the spoon, but I was trying to be fancy and use the cup. Just do whatever is easier for you, and then just smooth the chocolate out. And you're gonna see this one is less messier than the first one I did. Just make sure you shake it around and move that chocolate around and make sure all of the sides of the molds is coated. Some people cut these in half and have make three cavities, but I just like to use them as one because they're easier to stack in the freezer. If you're making a lot of bars to sell, they're easier to stack in the freezer. And you can actually, I mean, when eating this ice cream, you're gonna start feeling warm, like it's straight Hennessy, and like you do get a little buzz from it. It's like you're having a shot of Hennessy in one ice cream bar. And if you like, the more you eat, the more you will be drunk. See, that cleanup was way better. So I'm just putting the sticks in, and I'm gonna put this in the freezer, and then I'm gonna show you how I put the caramel in the molds. Okay, so we're gonna pull the popsicle sticks back a little bit just so we can lay the caramel out. Okay, so we just took the caramel out of the refrigerator. It was in there for about maybe 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And I'm gonna show you how it thickened up with the Hennessy. Okay, you see how it's thickened up? That's the consistency you want. That's the consistency of like a caramel topping. So you're just gonna place the caramel inside the mold. This is the cold mold, so it's already a shell. And the Hennessy is cold now, and the chocolate is cold. So you just want to make sure it's enough, and you're gonna spread it out throughout the whole mold because you want every time they bite, you want them to have some caramel with the Hennessy. And this tastes kind of like a Magnum bar, but much better. I can't wait for you guys to taste this together. I want you to let me know how you feel about it, what you think about it after you made it, of course. Don't tell me what you think and feel until you actually made it. So I was going to put this in the refrigerator, but my phone is about to die. So I'm going to bring it back out and just fill it with the ice cream just so I can show you guys how I do put the ice cream in there. And you don't have to put it back in the freezer once you put the caramel in because the caramel is cold. So just I use like a regular spoonful of ice cream. I use one and maybe a half of one, and that'll fill this cavity up. That's one there, and I'm going to add another one. So you want to make sure that you work quick because this ice cream does melt quick, and if it starts to melt, it's okay. It will freeze back up, but you want to make sure that it's all in the cavity, and you want to form it to the shape of the cavity. And then you're going to want to push your popsicle stick into the ice cream and then straighten it back up and make sure it's covered. And you see it's melting, that's okay. Don't worry about that. They come with these plastic lids, and you just put that on there and you put that back in the freezer and you let it sit in the freezer for about, give it like 6 hours to form back up. Now I'm going to show you how I do the outside. Now this is way after. This chocolate is cold, and I'm going to show you how I coat the back of the ice cream. And I'm going to show you how the ice cream formed in the mold. So this is our ice cream. And what you want to do is peel the sides back. And you want to make sure all of the sides is out of the mold, or this will happen to you. It will get stuck and it will break your chocolate. Just like I did here. I didn't make sure the bottom was out. So it like pushed through. So I'm going to move on to the next one and making sure I loosen all the edges up before I pop the ice cream out. And what you want to do is put that top back, the lid back on, and put these in the freezer because you want to work one by one. And this is the easiest way I found on doing it. And this is how it looks. Nice and pretty. So you want to take your bowl and put this over there and just pour the chocolate over the back of the ice cream. You want to make sure you, like, if there's any ice cream on the sides, make sure you seal it with, like, seal the ice cream with the chocolate because it will start to melt out once you've put it in the freezer, and once it's like somebody eating it, you don't want the ice cream to be leaking out the side. So put that back in the freezer. Then I'm going to show you another. I'm just going to do another one to show you. I tried to freeze the ice cream just in the mold plain, then pour the ice cream over it like a dip chocolate. Dip the ice cream in there. The chocolate ran all the way off, so that didn't work for me. This is the only way that works for me, by pouring the chocolate onto the back of the ice cream and putting it back in the freezer. And you can try to clean it up just so it can be neater, but the ice cream gets cold pretty quick. So I'm going to just show you how this look once it's frozen. So this is one that's already done. And I just got a knife and I'm going to cut it so I can show you how the inside looks. You got the layer of caramel, the chocolate, the ice cream. Doesn't that look so good? I can't wait for you guys to try.